Why, hello there, everyone. It's Wednesday night, not March. It's May 12th. I said March in an earlier video today, too. I don't know why I'm doing that. It is May 12th, and we're here with Katrina. Katrina, do you want to
Hi.
strangle me?
Because of stocks.
Yes.
Is that? No, 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 no. Are
You
you
don't want to
talking about?
strangle me? Your
No.
intuitive surgical option here is down like 70%. It's still a ways away. It still has 65 days until this thing
Yeah.
expires. But the market has been getting slammed today. I don't even want to talk about how bad my Tesla options are doing. It's embarrassing. Um,
Oh,
the market as a whole has been kind of taking some abuse. Now, there are a few reasons for that. Can you guess why this week before taxes are due that the market might be going down a little bit?
you mean other than the pipeline cyber hack?
That's unrelated to taxes, but it's another reason.
Oh,
Yeah, the pipeline cyber hack, that's something really interesting. I'll talk about that. I'm on the East Coast. You're in Colorado. Sorry, you're in Kentucky.
Kentucky.
I don't know if there are any gas shortages in Kentucky, but there are certainly gas shortages, and people just everybody's out of gas on the East Coast. Uh, my uncle tried to drive to Florida from Virginia, had to turn around in North Carolina because you just can't get gas. All the gas stations today were all empty out or huge lines, couldn't do it. Even though this is probably going to be a temporary problem, it is certainly just it's making a lot of older people, like, reminding them of the late 70s, and it's just a scary kind of thing, and everyone just kind of gets apprehensive, and it's not a good thing for the economy because we see how susceptible we are to these hacks, probably coming from the Russians trying to mess with our infrastructure systems. So that's one thing. But the other thing is, the main one actually, I think, is taxes. So taxes are due on Monday. They extended the deadline slightly for everybody to May 17th. And all these people that made tons of money on Tesla options throughout the year have to pay their taxes now. And this is kind of the week where everyone pulls money out to then have to forward it to the IRS. So you're seeing a lot of this happen early in this week. And that's why a lot of these stocks that went up a ton last year go down this week. This happens every year. I mentioned it a few videos ago. However, I didn't plan my options around it. That was kind of silly, except for this one that expires May 28th. But it's one that expires May 14th that I paid $421 for is worth $5 right now. That is bad, bad news. Tesla is under $600 a share now. What has happened? Tesla right here. Look at what has happened over the last 30 days, and that doesn't even include today. See this?
Yeah.
See how terrible this is? I mean, boom.
Hmm.
Now, thinking a little bit longer term, I'm seeing this as a great time to buy right now. I mean, if you look at them over the last 180 days, you can see that this is a really, really downswing here. They went down this low a few months ago, but really they should be hanging out up here, and they should get back up to 700 or more a share in the relatively near future still. So it is a phenomenal time to buy them. And one thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to positioning your portfolio is really what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to have half of your portfolio in cash and the other half of your portfolio in the options to the securities that you own. And what happens when you do that is whenever your options go down drastically or go up drastically, you have to either buy more or sell more to get your balance back at 50-50%. What does that mean? Let's talk about that with just your portfolio right now, which is just this intuitive surgical option. Here, this thing is worth $150 right now. You started with almost 500. When you started with almost 500, we essentially put 100% of your cash balance in a option or in a security. So we didn't have a 50-50 balance unless supposedly there's another $500 off to the side that you have that you're saying, oh, I'm waiting to invest that. And it's in my brokerage account, but I haven't bought anything else yet. We didn't specify that in the beginning. So right now you just have one security worth $150. So if you wanted to have a 50-50 balance right now between your securities and cash, how much money would you have to deposit into your account tomorrow to make it be at a 50-50 balance?
Uh, so 1,000 or about 1,000 minus 150. Is that what you're talking about?
You'd only actually have to deposit $150. Because
Oh,
right now the market value of what you own is $150. That's all it's worth right now. Even though you
uh-huh.
started with 500. Um, it's only with 150. And if you wanted to add money and have a 50-50 balance between cash and securities, well, if your security is at $150, in order to balance that out, you have to have another
Okay.
$150 in cash, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
you have a total of $300 portfolio value. Your
Oh,
portfolio value would be your cash plus your options values.
okay.
So you could add 150 to do that as a balance. Now it's a little bit easier to see with this Tesla options that I have because there are more of them, and it kind of explains what we should be doing. Do you remember when these two Tesla options that are now worth $70 and $5? Do you remember when they were worth almost $1,000 each, like 2 weeks ago?
Yes. Yes.
Remember how awesome that was when you thought I knew what I was talking about back
Yeah.
then? Well, one thing I mentioned in that video, but I did not act on it, was I said, we should consider selling one of these now because our return is so good. And I didn't mention the whole part about being 50% in your options and 50% in cash. That would have made it obvious at that point that we had $2,000 in securities and no cash, that we need to make a balance of having half of that in cash and half of that in options. And we should have sold one of those for $1,000 at that point. And then if we had done that, we would have a lot more money sitting out right now waiting to buy this huge dip as everything has gone down right now. But we don't. So we need to talk about that in the future as we add more to our portfolios and talk about our 50-50 balance, because that's something that we're going to do going forward, because that's the way you do this. So as for right now, there's some great deals in the market right now because of people pulling out money to pay taxes because of this hopefully short-lived attack on the infrastructure. There's still very positive things and it's still an up market. Look at Moderna. They're going to be booster shots for everybody coming up next year. This is crazy that they're going down. They're just going down because they went up from like $10 a share, $20 a share last year. People made hundreds of millions of dollars on this company. So they had to pull out and pay taxes. That's why they dropped it. It's a great discount right now. That really should be your next option. It should be a $200 strike price long call option on Moderna for like August or September. That's really September. The later you go, the better. That's a great pull. That is what this algorithm is telling me to do. It says that is the stock to buy right now. Of all the stocks and their current values and what the targets are, Moderna is the number one. Tesla's number two. They will definitely snap back. What's interesting to think about is all these people at gas lines and no gas at the gas stations. I wish I had an electric car right now. I mean,
Yeah.
wouldn't have that problem. I don't
Uh-huh.
think there were lines at the charging stations. It's just the
Right.
gas stations. So more of this attack on the infrastructure and problems like this, and you're going to see people flocking to electric cars. It doesn't have to be gas prices necessarily going up that much, but just the availability of gasoline is another reason this is a big problem.
Yeah.
Schrodinger is another good one that is lower than they are normally. They're under $60 a share. This is a molecular design mapping company. A lot of software that does this. They do have clients. They're not profitable yet, but they do fluctuate a lot in stock. So they're also a good deal right now. Google's down a little bit. Alphabet's down to 2239. They'll probably make their way up to 2500 before the end of the year. Your Intuitive Surgical had a rough day today. I don't know why. I guess people made their money on them last year also. So we'll have to wait for this to come back. But yeah, so lot of down stuff. You can see literally everything today went down. I don't think there was one gainer on this list. Oh yeah, Sherwin-Williams. I do want to talk about Sherwin-Williams. Yeah, they're awesome. Every time you see one, we just yell out Sherwin-Williams, just like I yell out Teslas every time I see a Tesla car. I yell out Sherwin-Williams too. They always win. You can see that even over the last 30 days, while everybody else is having trouble, Sherwin-Williams is still going up. Like Sherwin-Williams is the only one out of all of these that's still going up. And the reason why is they split. They had a 4-to-1 split a few months ago. Also, everybody just paints. Everything seems to revolve around paint. You don't realize how much all this home building and people home. If you can't go drive, you're at home painting the barn. Like it's just weird how they always seem to go up, and they just have great profit margins on their paint, and more people are painting because there's more building going on. So a strike price at like 300 over the summer, like a July strike price of 300, you're going to make money on that option. That's another one we need to buy. Um, they're a great company, and they tend to be really resilient and stable even when the rest of the market goes down. They've just had a great run. Slow and steady, I think, is my note on them. I mean, look at them over the last year. Look at them just, I mean, this is post-pandemic right here. But even before that, they just go up steadily because they have great profit margins. So anyway, go ahead, give me some questions. What's going on? We want to talk about?
Uh, I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of the only thing that's on my mind is if Tesla is actually going to go up. So, seeing after this whole um gasoline situation, um,
You know,
and people are gonna
something else Tesla did today, another interesting thing
what?
is they announced that they're no longer going to accept Bitcoin to purchase their vehicles. And the reason that they said they're not accepting Bitcoin anymore, and they didn't say they weren't going to accept all cryptocurrencies, they just said they weren't going to accept Bitcoin anymore, is they're making a statement about the environmental impacts of Bitcoin and the mining, all the electrical energy that goes toward mining, and the fact that it's predominantly sourced from coal burning plants. So it's terrible for the environment. So it's Elon's way of probably trying to push Dogecoin, his own coin. And I think Dogecoin probably doesn't use as many resources in their mining process because they're not as big yet. So they're starting to make news with this. They're talking about not conducting any Bitcoin transactions and holding on to all their Bitcoin from now on until they move to a more sustainable way of mining. Now, in my mind, thinking through the future here, they're probably talking about building large power walls. Tesla has this power wall thing that's like a big, huge refrigerator sized battery that can help power your home and charge your car and stuff and hold a good deal of energy. I'm thinking they're thinking about making more of these power wall farms, perhaps, and using solar to power the power wall, and then using the power wall to do things like mining for cryptocurrencies, so that the source of the energy is not burning a fossil fuel like coal to generate it through a turbine or some type of generator, but you're actually going to source it from solar or another renewable source like wind. I think that's what he's kind of going for here. So they're going to continue to make news, and they are definitely going to jump up. Really, what we need to do right now is we need to buy more Tesla options. I'm willing to wait till the end of the week because at the end of the week, you still have all those people that are still trying to pull out money and pay taxes. It's still going to happen all the way till about the end of the week and into Monday. So right around Monday, Tesla's probably still going to be pretty low and relatively, and it's time to buy one of these like $700 call options for a month or two away, and they're going to spike up at some point like they always do. And then you're going to see what it's like to be on the good side of one of these huge swings that they have, because they went down essentially over $100 a share in the last week, and they're going to have weeks where they go up over $100 a share, and that really has positive impacts on your options. But as for right now, this is a great example about how you need to balance half of your portfolio in securities and half of it in cash so that you can take advantage of the downturns and also sell at some profits when you have the upswings. It's a nice way of self-balancing yourself. I'll explain that as I purchase more securities and add them to the list, purchase more options, and I'll show you the gain percentages per day, when to sell when these percentages are very high. When they're over 3% per day, that's actually a lot of times a good time to sell. I'll discuss more of that as we purchase more of these options in Moderna. I would like to purchase a Walmart option. That's another one that is going to be very stable. Where are they? Where are you, Walmart? Right, Walmart's right here. Walmart they don't spike upward all that much, but still you can see that this trend is like this. Trend is still going up, even though they had a drop here. They're just super stable, and they're just like Sherwin-Williams. They're in every single. They define a town across the country, and they have everything at the lowest price. They have the best business model ever, so they will continue to climb up. So yeah, so I do see a lot of action happening with Tesla. It never stops. This is just what they do, is they make $30 and $50 moves every day. Sometimes it's really phenomenal, the volatility, and you just play the volatility, and we will have some options when they go up. It's not always going to go like this.
To go back to the Walmart,
Mm-hmm.
just You call that stable? Just had a question about I guess overall in a year it's stable, right? It looks like it's a trend. The general trend is going up, but if you're talking about short term, like three
Mhm.
month 3 month option call options, um, so let's like
So
looking at
there's,
that.
yeah, I'll show you through the chart here. So there's basically 4 3-month periods in here because we're looking at a year. So this is one, this is one, this is one, and this is one.
Yeah,
And in the first one, you would have done all right because they went up. In the second one, you would have done great because they went up a ton. The third one, you would have lost money because they were going to be even or flat. And the fourth one, you would have lost money because they would have been even or flat if you'd done a quarterly option all the way throughout the year.
yeah,
And the answer, that still would have been okay because the time you made money here on these two, you would have made much more than you had spent on the options on the other two, like by a magnitude of 5 or 6.
great.
So if you put about $100 option in each one of those quarters, you'd have $1,000 at the end of the year, and you only would have invested 400. I know this because I bought options throughout the last year in Walmart, and I had part of this when they were on their run last summer. What you have to avoid is owning too much of them in a precipitous drop, because then you can see like what's going on with the Tesla options I have is they're really dropping dramatically because they don't have a lot of time left. They were super risky anyway, so it's not all that surprising. It just didn't have a good run over this 2 weeks, and this one's still not dead. This one that expires May 28th, this is not dead. That is still 16 days away. That's an eternity in terms of Tesla time. So we'll see if some good things can happen, but it's certainly not looking good right now. So yeah, so Walmart though, they have a lot of shares, and also they're in retail. So retail isn't a sector that people usually think goes up a lot, but I mean, they're so outstretched everywhere, and you're not going to see a lot of this apparently, whatever happened like 2 months ago, whatever this was like right here, maybe it was about 3 months ago, there was this weird downturn with them. I can't remember what happened exactly. Maybe people, yeah, this is really odd for them. So it screams of a little bit of manipulation because not too many people are shorting Walmart stock. Their short interest is pretty low. So I don't know exactly what happened there, but that is abnormal for them. But this is a stock market; anything can happen, you know. So we're
Yeah,
just making the best assessments we can. So yeah, I would look for them to return. You can see that's their all-time high. They will hit that all-time high again. There's nothing going to stop them from doing that.
yeah. Do you
Yeah,
have the short? Do you have the short interest listed in
I
your
do
table
not.
here?
I do
Oh,
not.
okay.
That's something that I usually go pull when I'm browsing through TD Ameritrade. I'll look and see if there's a formula, but I don't think there is, because the short interest it's a calculation that's sampled at different times, and it's a little irregular compared to some of these other statistics that we're looking
Right.
at. So it's kind of one of those things you just have to watch, because even though the short interest is going to change every day, a lot of people that calculate it and present it to you don't always calculate it every day, and they do it in like 15 or 10 day, 5 or 10 or 15-day
Well,
increments.
sure. Yeah.
But it's definitely something to watch. And it's certainly something to glance at when you're thinking about how other people think about the company. Because if it's a company like Intuitive Surgical, does not have a lot of people shorting it either. So these companies that don't, Sherwin-Williams does not have a lot of people shorting it. Tesla has a good deal of people shorting it. Moderna has a lot of people shorting it. Schrodinger has a lot of people shorting it. So you're going to see much more fluctuations with them. And when they go down, the bad goes down faster when there's a lot of people shorting them, but the same flips when they go up. So it's a double-edged sword, I think, or whatever, or how they put that. It's a sword that certainly has two edges. They're both sharp. That's the point. Yeah. What else you got? Any other questions?
Uh, well, just from not really having traded options for a while, I guess I don't really know when the quarters end for each of these companies. Are they the same for every one of them?
Not
Or
necessarily. No,
okay,
the calendar quarters, a lot of companies are on, but not all of them. I mean, they have different fiscal years, and
yeah,
people report earnings throughout the time. But generally, you're going to see earnings in April. You know, generally you have January, February, March, and April is a big earnings reporting month. Then you got April, May, June. So July is the next month. So you want to time your options to own them after, or at least you want them to expire sometime after the next earnings are going to be announced, so that at least you have a few months before earnings, and then you have them through earnings and potentially after earnings. So it gives you a lot of flexibility on when you want to sell them. Because there's oftentimes there's a run up to earnings, meaning a lot of people are anticipating good earnings, and sometimes they'll push the stock price up before the earnings are announced, and then they'll turn around and sell on the news, regardless of whether or not the earnings are good or bad. So the stock price after earnings can fluctuate in all kinds of different directions. The Intuitive Surgical, for example, they went up $80 a share after they reported earnings. They had some cloaked earnings that nobody really knew were going to be that great, and they were awesome. And so they went up a lot after earnings, which is why it's a good idea to have an option for over a quarter so that you at least have them for that period of time, and you can measure the fluctuations and sell it when it's appropriate, and make your best decision. Yeah.
When were they coming out with their earnings again for Intuitive Surgical?
I think they're actually right after this July date. I think they're like July 18th. So basically this expires right to the run up. So you're going to have to buy it before, but yeah, so I didn't take my advice there for you. I should have had it expire in August, but I think we went for the less expensive option at only $490, and that's what got us trapped there. So we're learning, we're making a lot of mistakes early here, but we are learning, and we're going to turn some profit when we don't make these mistakes in the future.
Okay.
Yeah. So there we go. So that's the update. A lot of stuff going down. It makes me feel like it's a great time to buy. I say buy Moderna. I say buy Tesla, but you might want to wait till like Friday. Wait till Friday. I think Friday's probably an up day after everyone gets this whole tax situation out of the, well, actually, hold on. If the pipeline situation doesn't get fixed and up and down the East Coast, people can't get gas, the market is going to continue to go down regardless of how that actually impacts the economy. That's a psychological factor that will definitely cause people to pull money out and start to figure out what they're going to do if there are more attacks as well potentially from the Russians. It's something we got to watch for. It's a dangerous world out there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. So, all right, I guess that's our stock update for the day. We'll do another video tomorrow. You're going to be down with this tomorrow? See how things go. All right. And maybe I'll populate some cash in my account to get my balance up to 50-50. I think I only have to put $75 in right now to do that. Is that right? Unbelievable. That'd be funny though, because I'll put $75 and then I'll buy a Tesla option for $75 tomorrow, like a month-long option for like a $700 call or something. And if they go up $100 a day, that $75 option could be worth thousands of dollars. So it's kind of crazy to see what happens. But all right, I guess that's the update. Should we say bye to everybody?
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. All right. Good luck.